And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei Al Bob. And how do you speak truth to money? You go along to get along? you know, how did the most cultured, well educated, west, best moral country in Europe, Germany, within 2 years go 100% for Nazism, right? Putting people in camps and, you know, saying that you know, we got to get rid of these people. They're not us, we do it here. It was called Jim Crow, and the anti-Chinese movement, the anti-Japanese. We took Japanese citizens, just as like you were Irish Catholic and had been here for 5 generations, put you into a concentration camp. We did that in World War II with Japanese. These people were here for many generations, right? And their sons and daughters went off and fought wars for us in Europe. The most decorated um, battalion was the Japanese battalion that landed in Italy and kept marching all the way to Germany. Others were rotated, not them. They just kept going. You know. So, what do you think of what's going on, right? Um, have you ever been in a neighborhood where you live? And no, this is a chat. Tell me where you live. like I grew up in Harlem, and I grew up in Harlem in the '50s, and it was right at the height of the Renaissance, meaning it hadn't turned into squalor, right? Drugs really weren't there. People were doing drugs, but it wasn't a big thing. People were, you know, moving forward, trying to, make something about themselves. And that's, one of the issues about resistance and difficulty. When things are difficult, right? For me, right now, I live on $400 a month. My car just died, and I just spent $2,000 having it fixed, and then said, "Oh, it's all ready." I got in there, drove it for 200 miles, the engine blew up. "Oh, sorry, your car's dead." I said, "Guys, every time you put it on the lift," I said, "Fine, what was wrong?" "Oh, it was your coolant system, and your engine burned out." I said, "Guys, didn't I tell you that it smelled bad? That my coolant was leaking into the passenger side's little foot. It's like a lake down there. Didn't every time we Thank you, my friend. Oh, look at that. Ooh, everything but the cherry.
Okay.
You don't need the cherry.
No.
No, this is good enough. Uh-uh. Mm-mm-mm. So even though this is like death to me, I haven't had one of these for about 3 months, so I can have this one and enjoy it. But I was for breakfast, the earlier show, the guy behind me commented he was half the man I used to be, but he was getting there, and he had a slice of pumpkin roll, and he vacuum cleaned it up, just right. And it's gonna take me a while. I'm just taking. Mm-mm-mm. Real slow. Enjoy. So, what you need to do is speak up to to power, right? Money. And all those of you of the Abrahamic tradition, all of you Christians, all of you Hebrews, all of you Muslims, right? You all come from Abraham, right? So you should not be fighting each other. Abraham tradition were to step up in all of those sects, we'd have peace on earth. So I've lived in this neck of the woods. Well, see, the thing is, I live in a lot of neck of the woods. Lived all over Europe. And when I lived in Sweden for a year, I kept flying Sweden's nickel. Because I got a Swedish driving license. And their driving license was like, back in the day, they used it kind of as a passport. It looked just like a passport. So my name was on it. My address where I lived was on it. And I would go down to the airport in Stockholm and go in the airport and see what flights were leaving that were sponsored by the government, because the government not only guaranteed all citizens 4 weeks off, but it guaranteed them the time off, the salary to be paid, and the vacation. They could go anywhere they wanted to. Sign up, go on the airplane, go on a tour, hotels, food, everything. But there are a lot of people who would sign up and then get scared. So if you showed up ready to get on the airplane that day when it was about to take off, they would have this list. You go down this desk, you sign all the papers, they give you a visa, a Swedish visa. And when you're going through the into that foreign country, you have this visa that's been given by that government to Sweden, and Sweden gave it to me. And I go there with my driver's license that looked like a passport and a visa. So I went to Syria in the 1970s before, and Syria was really a groovy place to be. If you didn't go against Assad, if you didn't speak up against a great leader, you could do whatever the heck you wanted. Same with Iraq. And Iraq was our junior partner. We put Sam in power. We gave him all his weapons through NATO. Ooh, yum, yum, yum. Thank you, Prince.
Get an update now.
Yeah. That's why I'm eating it slowly, enjoying every morsel. Mm-mm. Oh, I'm down into the turtle part. One of my totems. Turtles. Turtle and ant are the originators of the planet spirits. The guy often is portrayed as a pregnant mother with a turtle's stomach. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you because I've made a few days. I haven't really had a YouTube for 8 days, which is fine by me. I have more than 2,000 of them. Guys, I suggest you go look at the truth that I laid down over these last 5 years. Some of them are really hilarious. Some of them are with Johnny Boy. Johnny Boy, his last YouTube is him with a little baby squirrel. And squirrels are nice. Um, my deep green doesn't have squirrels because I have a feral cat, and she just loves eating squirrels, and mice, and voles, and rats. I mean, the one animal she doesn't touch is the bunnies, and the bunnies haven't overrun the deep green. There's only one family of them. I don't know where they go intermittently, maybe in another dimension, but they come and they go and they come and they go. And same with Ms. Cat, and there are other creatures in the deep green who like. I have a friend of mine who runs. I'm involved with a lot of churches, right? So one church has a great thrift shop, and I go in there and I sit down with the guys who work there. And all those guys are drug addicts, alcoholics, and just out of prison. Right? The guy who runs it is really a saint. Give them a place to live, give them a gig, give them money, and I come in and talk to them. Right? Talk about all of the, read their palms, I talk to them and give them insight in ways that, most shrinks don't. And so that community really loves me. So, yes, it was May or June. I was in there, and they were moving stuff around their place, and they go, "Ow." I go around. I said, "Why don't you take all this stuff?" "What stuff?" He takes me to the corner. Big wraparound couch, chairs, coffee tables, lamps, another couch with a bed, and goes, "This." I said, "How am I going to get it?" It's like from where they are to my deep green is about 40 miles. How am I going to get it there? You got a truck? I'm trying to figure out, people with trucks, and nobody would help. And they said, "No problem." And they stacked all of that stuff on top of my Mr. Kia, like a pachinko, like Yahtzee, right? And I'm a real world time packer, so I had some rope and I tied everything up. And I made it back. It was unbelievable. And so I drove into my forest, into the forest, 4-wheel drive. I drove into it, and there's a section where I made a pad where someday you could build a house there. And so there aren't trees there, but there are bushes and stuff. And there's trees just behind it. So I drove right into the trees, and I had loosened up all the ropes. And when I stopped, because it was on a hill, all of this stuff that was up there didn't fall down. It slid down the front of the car, down the the windshield, down and went onto the ground exactly like boom. This the big couch, the wraparound couch came off first. The chairs, the tables, and the couch that is a bed, and it set itself up beautifully. I mean, like a living room. It was like amazing. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Jesus. And so I have that there. So people come and visit. Want to sleep? They can sleep there. Right? So, and when people come and talk, we sit on the couch like a living room, right? Got a fire circle in the middle. Well, every so often. So first I covered everything up with a drop cloth, the kind of dollar drop cloth you get at Walmart. So I bought a pack of them. And I sprayed adhesive, so I kind of sprayed around the couch and the chairs, and I just put drop cloth over it, totally covered it. And I put tarps, because I got a ton of tarps. Put tarp over each thing. I had tarp that fit each thing. And like put it underneath the legs of all the furniture. And so it was holding all summer really nice. And this morning I got up and all the tarps, not the drop cloths, they were still there. But all the furniture had been slightly moved, and all the tarps were kind of thrown off and put out. And it was look like somebody from another dimension came and had a party in my little sitting room, in my North 40, and my deep green. And so I said, "Oh, isn't that nice? Did you guys have fun? Hope you did." You know, Mr. Bunny was there, kind of looking at me like, "Hmm." And I don't know where Miss Cat has gone off to. I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. But she does this. About this time, she goes someplace, probably someone's house. And she doesn't come back till she gets knocked up. And because when she was born, her mommy got knocked up there and had kittens underneath my deck. And I let them grow up. And some of my friends took them because they were very cute and they were still little kittens. And mommy was okay with that. And then something happened to mommy. I don't know what happened to mommy, but there were two kittens left, and I kind of did say, "No, I'm not. You're not my cats, but you can stay here to take care of the voles and the mice and the this and the that." And they did. They were good. I said, "Leave Mr. Bunny alone because he's not your usual bunny. You'll be surprised." So they did. So one of those kitties, and so that was like 4 years ago. So the female of those kitties comes back every spring around May and sets up shop and is very, very on the down low. She doesn't do anything to mess things up or to bother me. I just start to see less and less mice activity. And the mice are pretty down low too. They don't really, you know, there's some mice that like pop their head out and say, "What are you going to do?" And then, the cat takes care of them. So this is called nature, right? So John has this video of of uh,
What's he doing? It's good. I'm a woman. I'm a baby. Who's a squirrel? He is good. He is good. He is good. He is good. He's cute. I do that. I do that. Yay! Yay! She likes it. She's cute. Oh, yeah, Tommy, Uncle, my baby. Donkey, oh, no. He is good. I'll put this down. I'll put it here. I do that day. Oh, he good.
now the worst thing you can do with animals from the woods is to try to domesticate them, right? Because you're just getting them ready for some serious woes, and you're opening yourself up for infestation. And so I let nature take care of everything, right? Some people around, put poisons down, do all kinds of crazy things. I just let nature take care of it, and I observe. Mr. Bunny is always there, Madam Butterfly, Ms. Kitty. So I don't really. I'm just there as a positive observer, right? And I don't leave food out. I don't, get them dependent on anything. I got to go find their own meal. So there's about 1,000 homeless people around here, and basically, as the rich people come in, they are basically shooting them. Right? I felt intimidated. It's like, really? Okay. And so, a number of these people get these houses, and it's one of their 6 houses they have. And then the homeless people, it's freezing cold last winter, and so they broke in the house and they lived and still. I mean, they used all the stuff. They, cooked on their pants. They slept in their beds. It was like Goldilocks, and ate their food, right? And took shower with their towels and wore their underwear, and then left it there, and left it in piles, and just and because they had gone feral. So, and that's what will happen when you bring a a little character of that nature. Now, if you really, really want to have some kind of care and empathy, why don't you see all the people who are being murdered and killed all over the world in wars? There's about 200 wars. First, we're focusing on what was going on in Africa. Oh, and then what happened in Ukraine. Oh, now what's happening in Yemen? Close to 500,000 people have been killed over the last 8 years, right? And all with American weapons, American aircraft, and also assisted. The technicians on the ground in Saudi Arabia are American. The guys flying the refueling aircraft for U.S. Air Force, Americans. So we are as responsible for all this stuff in Yemen as anybody else. And in the UN, we keep blocking anything that would stop the war. And we're doing the same thing with, and now people go, oh, you can't support, that's terrible, that's terrible. If you, wait till the real news comes out that Israel, if not paid the Hamas to do it, basically let them do it. And then they came in, and because the Hamas didn't kill enough people, the, Israel Defense IDF, because a lot of those houses were blown up with tanks, right? With artillery. And all of the videos of Hamas where they were like on little mopeds with AK-47s. Yeah, they killed people. Yes, they did. But, it's as the guy who runs the UN said, this wasn't done in a vacuum, right? Now, I don't support either side, right? Because basically how I look at it, I'm a historian, I'm a psychosocial cultural forensic anthropologist. To me, this is a good observational point, and now this is a good lesson. We as humanity could learn something from this, like don't do this again. But don't worry, we will. And they're talking about a wider war. Of course, the guys who, like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, they want a larger war. They're not making enough money by selling our old crap to Ukraine. And not, Ukraine's not paying for it. We are. The American taxpayer is paying 3 times for it. It was already paid for back in the 80s and then in the 90s. And then now giving it to them. And now that has to be paid for again to replace new stuff, right? With new stuff. And all the stuff we're giving away is at least 30 years old, meaning not cutting edge. So, anyway. So the war in Ukraine is going to go on for at least another 5 years and will incorporate all of NATO. And I would say at some point there will be a nuclear exchange. And I would say quicker, sooner than that, Israel will start throwing around its nukes on people who are not even in the fight yet. And they'll say, well, we had to nuke Iran because they were going to do it. Well, Iran has no weapons. They have no military. They don't have what they, they haven't had 50 years of U.S. giving money and weapons to them, right? We only had about 15 years of when the Shah was there. The aircraft they have are, ancient F-4s that we gave them back in 1960, right? So, anyway, it's right in front of you. And unless you start really seeing what it is and speaking up to it, you don't have to talk about what's going on in Palestine or in Africa or in anywhere else in, Ukraine. Just talk about what's going on in your neighborhood. See the same thing. That's when you see neighborhoods that are getting redlined, when you see legislatures that are gerrymandering voting out of the hands of the people who they don't want to vote, when you see people's rights taken away, right? And it has no legislative power, meaning all the folks are being put in are like the guys who, like the guy who just became um, Speaker of the House. And I would say he is the linchpin to the United States having basically, he's going to declare martial law and civil war at the same time. And good luck with that. And unless you step up and see what's going on in your neighborhood, did you ever see the movie V for Vendetta? And, it looks like, the people have had enough and they're going to, burn everything down. And no, V does it. He's like, sacrificing himself to do it so the people don't have to. So the people all show up in front of the army dressed as V in the black thing and the mask. And the army realizes, and one of the masks falls off, and one of the army guys sees it's his daughter. And he goes, whoa. And then another guy, and when that happens and people see that, they take the mask off, and all the army guys realize that's mom, that's my kid, that's and the army says, that's it, we're not going to kill these people. It's the only way. Non-violence is the only way, right? And look what Gandhi did with nonviolence. Look what Martin Luther King did with nonviolence. Look what who invented nonviolence in the 19th and 20th and 21st century was women. When you read what Gandhi said, he got it. He was in Africa, and this Christian pamphlet came his way when he was in jail in South Africa, and because he was a he thought it was English, right? He had gone to a big law school. He was, representing because he had such a good lawyering that when he got a gig in Africa, and those guys didn't realize that he was Indian, that he was colored. And so when he showed up, they threw him out the door, right? And so, he organized and tried to fight it, but he's in jail, he's all beat up, and this guy throws a Bible at him because he's Sikh or Hindu or whatever Gandhi was. And inside there's this women's pamphlet about nonviolent, right? And that's where you got the idea from American women up there in, the Finger Lakes, Seneca, the Seneca movement. Go read the girls from up there. So that's what, and if the American public would stand up to this, and that every group would come together, like they did in Grand Central Station in New York the other day, right? It was all these Jewish people and a handful of Muslim folk and a bunch of everybody else, about 2,000 people, and they just filled up right when everyone's trying to get home, stopped everything. If that were to go down, if everyone, right now, everyone's burning up their credit card, right? If everyone just stopped buying stuff and then said, I'm not going to pay on my credit card bill, you'd see something really interesting happen. So here we are, 28 minutes. Nobody's watching. I hope the paper hangers come back and watch this later on. So you need to step up, gang, right? Do at least what I do, start a YouTube channel or start talking about how you feel about things, right? Tell stories about your life, right? Expose your internal feelings, right? Instead of hiding, right? Because, you hide, at some point, they're going to come and get you. If you're straight up who you are, you'll be able to at least represent, right? So you can go out, not fighting. So I was going to pay a whole bunch of stuff from what's on YouTube, but you can go see it. Go Gray Zone and Amy. Amy had this Coates guy on. He's a African American who wrote, Between Me and the World. He's really, so he went off there to Palestine in the summertime to see what was going on, and he could relate because it was just like what happened to him as a kid and Black folk. So that's what I got to say to you, and I got to go. I got things to do. You stay well.